Is it better than Richard Burns'
Is it
Rally?
better than Dirt
Is
Rally
it even
2?
optimized that well? What about the sliding physics? Is there even any way to tune the cars? Does it really look that good? Yes. Yes, it does.
Hello everyone, CD Racing here, and welcome in for my open and honest assessment of the one, the only, the very hyped up Assetto Corsa Rally. Look at it in all of its glory. I'm very excited to try out this game. There's been a lot of hype around in the rally community, but for anyone that's a returning viewer or has been around in the channel, you know I am quite the Dirt Rally 2 connoisseur. Never put much time into Richard Burns' Rally. I thought you needed way too many mods just to get that game to work. So now that we've got what is being shown as an incredibly difficult and realistic, genuine rally sim in the Big 25, you know I had to come check it out. Let's go ahead and get a look. Jumping straight into the main menu here, you'll see in the bottom right, I have 3 kilometers driven. I did test and see the wheel was working, but I want to preface this by saying, optimization-wise, they have already blown it out of the park. Steam's minimum requirements for this game say that you should have a 2080. I'm rocking a 2070 Super, and when I threw everything on low settings, not only does everything look great, but it ran fine, 0 issues. So the game is optimized very well. In the background right now, as we're talking about this, you'll notice there's a lot of stuff in this game already in early access. Quite a few cars to choose from, and they've got awesome details on them, you know, manual, sequential transmission, 4-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, all the specs. And it also tells you which cars they think are harder to drive. Now, we've got a lot of things to check out, even in early access, but I think just to test it out, I want to immediately hop into free practice, get a sense for how this game works. Let's load into our first stage and see exactly how this game compares to Dirt Rally 2. And first things first, we got to choose our car. And I think the Mini Cooper just makes the most sense. We got to start it out in the most simple one. They say this is the easiest car to drive. It looks great. It even shows the history of every vehicle in the game, which is pretty cool. But that's a lot of words, and I'm not reading them. I've got a stage to attempt to conquer because I want to get into this as quickly as possible. Now, loading in, looking at the stages, obviously they look great. I've touched on that already, but I think I remember hearing something about laser scan stages. So these might be real-world WRC stages. Now, if they are, that's fantastic, because if the game is as realistic as it is and you're practicing on real stages, that just ups this game's value to me so much, because I would love to put time into this game as a genuine practice. But looking at the car setup is incredibly specific to what you're driving. You see here, we've got gear sets that we can change on the Mini. It's only a 4-speed, but suspension, dampers, axles, not available. This is a little hot hatch from the, early 70s. It didn't have anything tunable. You've got wheels, brake adjustments. Now, I will talk on this now. I haven't seen this in a game before, but you can change the texture of the brake pads themselves, not just your wheels and tires, or tires alone, my bad, but the brake pads. I wish they highlighted that a little bit more, because sometimes when I was on hard brake pads, the car just would not stop, and as soon as you threw on softs, they lock up the second you touch the pads. I don't know if the physics just need a little bit more tuning, but that did start to me. And speaking of start, look at this procedure. Very in-depth. We have to drive to the start of the stage. Now, I use this as an opportunity to get a use for the physics. It feels incredibly slidey, but we're just going to go ahead and try and send it to the best of our ability. Now, I don't want to brag, but I have several top 100 global times in Dirt Rally 2. So going into this stage, I'm pretty confident that things are going to go very well. As the lights go down, let's just go ahead and wrap this one up. Go.
5 left, long, tightens late, 50. Brake, 3 left, tightens 2. Over crash.
All right, so game is a little bit harder than I anticipated. I will say that much, but that was a little bit more of me just cutting a corner I should not have cut. Second time around, go ahead and launch ourselves up to the stage. Let's try and finish the stage and just get this over with. We know that we can do this.
Long, tightens late, 50. Brake, 3 left, tightens 2, into 2 right, long, kinks, over crest.
All right, well, third time's the charm. Third time's the charm. So, 2 attempts lost at the exact same corner. We're going to take that one personally and really lock in for the third attempt here, and spoiler alert, we do finish this one. We're going to go ahead and tackle this entire stage. Now, it is a little bit of a long one, so I'll give you a timestamp to skip if you don't want to watch the whole thing, but
5,
first time
4,
in
3,
Assetto Corsa Rally,
2,
finishing
1.
a stage. Let's see how it unfolds. As the lights go down, we're going to go ahead and send it out. And immediately, the grip in this game sticks out to you, or lack thereof. This game does a really good job at giving you that sensation of being on gravel or mixed surfaces where you have grip and the ability to change your direction, but you're not completely in control. You see the low-speed sections here, especially in the front-wheel drive cars. If you go in too hot and initiate that understeer, the car just goes nowhere. So you're going to see me really slowing down. And one thing that definitely stands out, when you're in first person, they did not give motion blur. Now, for the sake of the graphics, again, we're on low settings. It looks fantastic, but I will say, your sense of speed in the car feels a little dull. Like right now, we're almost at the top of third gear, doing about 60 miles an hour down this road. You do not feel like you're doing 60 miles an hour down this road. So I'm going to include the third-person replay at certain spots just to show you how fast we're really going, because we are moving at this moment. Towards the top of fifth gear, 140 kilometers an hour. Now we've got a 5 left, 3 left, tightens 2. So hard on the brakes. You see how hard it is to get the car slowed down. They really did a good job at the lack of grip that you have out on these stages. Dirt Rally 2 was a somewhat realistic sim, but some of the stuff you could get away with. If you just put your car sideways, you would lose all sense of momentum. Now, I will complain a little bit towards the end of this video that sometimes this game does too well at giving you no grip. If I'm doing 30 kilometers an hour and I grab handbrake and move sideways, the car should lose quite a bit of speed, and sometimes it does not do this. But early on, grappling with this car, this is supposed to be one of the easiest games, or one of the easiest cars to drive in this game. And it immediately let me know that this game was going to be an uphill battle in terms of mastering it, because this thing already is a handful. Throwing this thing around the stage, it is front-wheel drive and lightweight, and I do remember my basics of rally techniques. I've made a video on that if you guys want to check it out. Shameless plug. I don't care. But this is not my first rodeo. I've been rally racing and driving it, or following it, for a long time. So going into this, I was not blind to rally itself, just this game in particular. And the call system, despite the fact that we just blatantly overshoot that hairpin, again, slowing the cars down sometimes, it's difficult. And I don't know if that's a physics problem or I've just gotten used to how forgiving Dirt Rally 2 is. But man, slowing these cars down is hard. But like I said, this is not my first rodeo, and as soon as we stop trying to do kickflips in a Mini Cooper, the stage is actually going pretty well. Almost halfway done. Actually, not really. It's an 11.6 kilometer stage, which, again, I'm going to be usually comparing this to Dirt Rally 2, as that's what I've played the most. That is already in of itself like one of the longest stages in Dirt Rally. I think the longest one is around 11 kilometers. So if this is like the average stage length in this game, that to me just shows that they're taking the difficulty aspect a lot more serious, because in real world rally, some of the stages are ridiculous. I've heard WRC single stages being like 25 kilometers long, and sometimes in Dirt Rally 2, that's the entire rally weekend. So if the physics are this consistently difficult and you really have to be on top of it just to keep the car going, this game is going to be a marathon to get used to. In this video, I'm still just getting used to the game itself. I couldn't even imagine hopping into some sort of career mode and trying to finish an entire weekend. But as far as how the game plays, it plays great, as I just absolutely nail something on the inside. You want to know the actual excuse for why that happens so often? I'm an American, in case you can't tell from my accent. And when I drive right-hand drive vehicles, I just forget that there's a lot more open space on the left-hand side. So getting too close to the inside there on the stage, this game feels very rewarding when everything gets together. The first couple times I drove, I was kind of negative because I was so bad at it. But as I started to get used to it, I stopped nitpicking the little things and just realizing you have to stay on top of it. But they did a great job at communicating the movement and weight transfer of the car itself into the wheel. You really feel the weight moving as you throw the car into these corners. And especially because we're in a little 70s Mini Cooper, when we get a little sideways like that and send it into a corner, you feel the wheels underneath you just spinning as you're trying to get that grip back, and the weight of the car itself as you try to catch it. So the physics of the game feel absolutely fantastic. However, my only major complaint is the low-speed sliding. I know they did a great job at giving you that illusion of the car really having no grip out on gravel, even in rally tires. But right here, you see I kick the rear end out and start accelerating immediately, but the car just keeps its momentum and keeps sliding. And that might not have been the best example, but later in a tarmac session, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. But I just want to highlight that early on so you guys can watch it, because again, right here, I'm steering, I'm counter steering, I'm not going that fast, and the car just drifts out wide. And I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt now. We are in a Mini Cooper, no aerodynamics. The suspension is basically just a children's spring on a 2x4 connected to the wheels. But I think we should have a little bit more control than that. We're going to see how it goes. Now, a little bit more than halfway through the stage, we have been hauling. Definitely a high-speed section here. 5 left 50 into 6 left over crest, 5 right 40. As these calls come in, and you're getting used to them, they feel great. I think the co-driver and the call system that they set up for this game, even though it might feel a little bare bones, it works. The only thing I ended up changing was making the calls come in a little bit earlier, because as I got used to the game and my overall speed increased, there were a couple times where my co-driver was calling caution slow 100 meters before the corner. So obviously we can't be doing that. But I want to touch once again on the physics of the game, because look at the characteristics of the car as we go over these bumps. You are witnessing the entire chassis bump and just undulate over these corners, and that's an awesome feeling. It kind of grounds you and takes you to that sense of realism, because in Dirt Rally there are times where you're doing 130 miles an hour over these big jumps and the screen is shaking and you're trying to catch the car, but you don't feel it immediately in this game. So we hit a nasty little drift there. You guys catch that? But what you notice in this game, the sense of weight transfer and the car underneath you gives you a real connection to the stage that you're driving. You not only see the bumps in the stage, but when you hit them, you feel them, and it forces you to adjust your driving. I cannot wait to see what the rest of the stages, especially in the full release, look like and how it affects every car individually. Because in this one, we've got a lot of bumping, a lot of loose suspension, just throwing this little Mini Cooper into these stages and hoping that it sticks. And that's kind of how they were driven in Rally back then. And I'm interested to see how it compares to the real world modern cars. Now, I think you guys have gotten a good enough sense of this stage, and we do finish it. I don't think you need to watch the rest of it. We've gotten a good sense of high speed, the low speed. I want to try a different vehicle, different drivetrain, and see how the physics apply there. Because front wheel drive so far, they've nailed how consistently annoying it is to rally front wheel drive cars. The understeer is there, but manageable if you drive better. Let's see how the all-wheel drive does. All right, so before we choose the next car that we're going to tackle, I did want to highlight a couple extra features that are in the game, because I've said this is early access, so they intend to drop even more when the game is officially out. But look at the content we already have available. These are called Assetto Corsa Rally events, and you just handle yourself over different stages at a different location, and I think they force you into a different car as well. And they have vehicle-specific rallies, so you can get a lot of seat time in just about every car they already have in here, as well as straight-up rally weekends, which I'm assuming are just like a traditional rally, but you have different vehicle options locked to the drivetrain. You gotta explore that eventually, but I just wanted to highlight what is available in the game. And another thing that we can look at now are the different locations and stages. Now, in early access, we only have two, the Tarmac Rally of France and the Gravel Rally of Wales, and they're separated by two different regions, or I guess I will call them like home sectors, Halfren North and Halfren South. And each one, I'm assuming, just has one long, what we'll call like the master stage, and then you can take the shorter variants of it. So we're going to lock back into the stage that we were already doing, but instead of the slow manual Mini Cooper, we're going to go ahead and rock with the significantly faster Rally 2 I-20. Now, if this follows real-world WRC, this is basically the Formula 2 equivalent of WRC, you know, Formula 2 to Formula 1, WRC to WRC. It's not super complicated. If you don't get it, come on now. But jokes aside, this is a huge step up. Now, we're not going to do the whole stage because we just want to get a taste for the all-wheel drive, but it says that this car is not much more difficult to drive than the Mini Cooper. We're going to determine that right now, because with speed comes a lot more drastic mistakes. It's a lot harder to recover from spinning out at 40 kilometers an hour than 130. So we'll see how this goes. Probably not going to tune the car, just go into it raw, no diddy, and see how this goes. All right, so loading in, a lot more advanced looking vehicle this time around. We actually have bucket seats. I didn't even think about that. We really went into that last stage sitting on a glorified bench seat. Let's see how this one goes. Car already sounds and feels a lot more serious, and sometimes when you forget to put it in gear, you just rev bomb it. Now, the immediate difference in power Yeah, this thing is wild. I did not realize how slim the windshield is. I guess the pace notes help, but I feel like I can't see out of this thing. Let's see how it goes. No cuts, no nothing. Just first attempt here. Dumping the clutch and launching hard on the get-go. And yeah, these gears are short. Already into 4th gear going around this right here. 4 right into 5 left, brake 5 right into hairpin right. So watch your speed. Closing down section. Try to set up a scanty flick and just keep going. Now, we'll have to discuss this heavily in the comments, but situations like that are exactly what I was talking about. These low-speed situations, the car just slides and slides and slides and slides, going nowhere. I feel like it's a bit too much. I feel like I should be able to get my momentum back just a little bit. Now, I'll say sometimes I send it in just too quick. Like right here, I had a lot of momentum, but going completely sideways on the gas, I feel like I should recover a little bit better, but we'll discuss that in the comments. I might have a bunch of people telling me that I'm trash. I don't care. I just want to see if I'm the only one that's crazy or if I need to get good. But as we try to get used to the stage, massive speed difference at this moment. Almost 170 kilometers per hour. Then into the closing down section. That one right here, I'll say that that one's on me. I came in way too high. Let's go ahead and restart that. Second time's a charm. Loading back into the stage start. Man, I'm going to be a broken record on this, but I cannot believe how good this game looks. These are low settings, and the game looks really good. I cannot imagine someone who's got like a 5th gen NVIDIA who can run this game at 4K. I'm sure it's absolutely insane. But launching the car, focus on the driving, not the visuals. Let's see how it goes this time. Again, this early section is actually the most complicated part of this stage. This really quick hairpin. You see right there again, I'm on the gas in the boost, and the car's just going nowhere. Now right here, again, sending it in at 70 kilometers is ambitious, but I'm on the brakes, I'm letting them go, I'm on the gas, and I feel like the car just slides a lot. So we'll see if that's something I have to get used to. Sorry, the audio cut out there because I choked midway through my spiel, but what I was saying is, I don't know if that's something that I'm going to have to get used to or something that needs to be fixed, but ignoring that one and honestly my only issue with the game at the moment, we're going to go on here, continuing to try to get used to this WRC car and in the high-speed section once again. Oh my God. What are we doing? See, that might be the biggest argument for the sliding physics in this game. I don't think I should be doing a 1080 on the roof of my car in the gravel. I think sometimes it's just a little too little friction, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe third time's a charm works in the all-wheel drive vehicles. Let's see how this one goes.
Long, tightens 3, don't cut. Into 3 left tightens, over crest, 150.
All right, so sometimes you gotta know when to call it quits. We're gonna go ahead and do a huge switch up. Instead of gravel, we're now on tarmac. And instead of all-wheel drive, we're going to go for what might be one of the craziest rear-wheel drive vehicles ever conjured up. Not the 131 Aberath. Even crazier. That's right. The Rally 37, the famous Lancia rear-wheel drive Group B car. Now, if you've watched the Top Gear or Grand Tour special on this vehicle, you'll know it's insane. Now, we're going to try and tackle it on Rally. Yet to test the gravel or rally asphalt physics in this game. Could there have been a more stable car to test it in? Absolutely. Are we going to use the crazy one anyways? Yes. Let's see how that goes. And loading in here, we'll let the little intro cinematic play because this car, I don't know how the engineers came up with this specific shape, but it is one of the wildest yet coolest vehicle designs I've ever seen. Going ahead and starting here, we'll get some raw sound in here. Just listen to it. Oh, almost stalled. I was trying to give y'all a little bit of an intro here. Let's do this. There it is. Get the tires nice and warmed up. Get this thing ready to go. Almost lose it. Oh, there is no shot I make it to the end of this one. But we'll see how it goes. Marshall stops us right here. Walks away. No fear in that man at all whatsoever. As we get ready, hold the revs here and just launch it out just like that. And immediately the grip is very apparent and also a lot longer geared than anything else that we have driven up to this point. We're going to see how it goes, and immediately the tarmac physics feel like you are on tarmac. And that might sound like a really weird thing to be excited about, but one of my biggest complaints with Dirt Rally 2 was that the asphalt physics specifically felt really weird. Sometimes it was near impossible to not lock your brakes up, and other times you could be full force the whole time. Okay. All right. You know what? Maybe we should focus a little bit more on driving, but, blanket statement. Asphalt physics already feel significantly better here in AC Rally. Let's go ahead and get ourselves back into the line a second time. Speed Blitz, you like that? Little teleporting section? All right, lights go up. Second time's a charm this time. No fooling around. Let's just get used to it. We know the physics are now a lot more realistic and we can drive accordingly, and we are definitely going to have to watch the brakes. Locking up on tarmac, not ideal. Ruins your tires. It's going to send you off every time, but we also need to keep our momentum up. It's a lot. Now, we chose the absolute worst car to get used to the tarmac physics, but trial by fire, diamonds are made under pressure, one of those things is going to connect here. We're just going to hope. But all the way to the top, 200 kilometers an hour on this stage. Now, coming to a stop here, just watch it. All the way down into this low section, fighting understeer still. And, if I had the cojones and probably a little bit more used to it, I would be swinging this rear end out on purple. Oh, wow, I can't even speak as we're trying not to crash here. Purpolis, that's a new one we're adding to the vocabulary. Going away here, we're not going to restart on that one. Another instance of me thinking, maybe it's a bit too slidey. Now, we'll say on that one, we got the tires into the grass, and if we're on slicks for an asphalt rally, I can see why we lose grip in the dirt, but look at this, that's just ice. That's a little bit ridiculous. Now, we're going to try and restart this one more time.
And sudden, 4 right, opens, 50, caution, brake, 5 left, over crest, into, hairpin right, tightens late.
All right, that's enough of that. So I was being ambitious and attempting to use the Lancia on tarmac, but for the sake of giving an actual skilled assessment of tarmac in this game, let's go ahead and get 2 birds, 1 stone here. I want to see some of these challenges. They're starting us out here in France on tarmac, front-wheel drive Rally 4 car. Now, I've actually never even heard of this discipline, but I learned very quickly the name of the game here is to apparently make the first 3 gears completely useless, at least when I first started driving this vehicle. As I got used to it and I started getting a little more patient on throttle because I was mashing it quite a bit, the first 3 gears are short, and you'll see what I'm talking about as soon as we start this thing. I'm not going to showcase the sound or anything. The car sounds okay in terms of quality, but I don't think it sounds fantastic. But look at this first gear. This illusion that you can get to almost 50 in first, like it looked like there, not true. Not going to happen. This thing is short. But let's just see how it goes. Real time out on tarmac, back in front wheel drive, albeit, but let's see if we can get a genuine attempt at knocking this stage down. Our goal here in the top right, if you notice, for a gold medal, we need anything faster than 2 minutes and 36. So let's see how that goes. Launching here, and that's what I'm talking about. Already basically at the top of 3rd gear, and we haven't even hit 60 miles an hour. That's kind of insane for a tarmac rally. Now, I'm sure I could tune this vehicle, but just making some pure observations about the vehicles themselves, this one, not my favorite. It is easier to drive. You'll notice I'm immediately having a little bit of a nicer time, but it's just not, it's not for me. But for the sake of the challenge, we need to use it, and yeah, slowing down there, not ideal. And this is in real time when I realized that changing the brake pads is probably something that they should highlight just a little bit more. I know a game this difficult probably isn't for the casual racer, okay, I totally just murdered that spectator. But restarting here, I know this game probably isn't for the casual rally or just race enjoyer in general. Not everyone that has a wheel is trying to become the next Max Verstappen. So this game might not attract a casual audience that, wants you to hold your hand. But I wish they would have been a little bit more vocal about how much the tuning of these cars means, because these brake pads, especially on tarmac and maybe just this lightweight car, this thing was on hard brake pads. It didn't stop at all. It didn't matter if I gave it a little bit of love tap to warm them up or just foot to the floor and eased it out. This thing was not stopping for nothing. However, a couple attempts from now, which we'll highlight later, I finally switched to the soft pads and immediately locked them up every time. So they are realistically different The soft pads are going to bite a lot harder, but you got to watch your lockups. And the hard pads, I don't even know what they're there for, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe it's a skill issue or I just need to brake way earlier, but the hard brake pads did absolutely nothing for me. Look at that. These tires are not locked up. And it took me almost like 3.5 seconds to go from 100 to 60 kilometers miles an hour with the brakes on. That's got to stop. But trying my hardest with what we've got, almost a third of the way through the challenge. High-speed section here, just let off, power out accordingly as soon as you're back on it. The car still feels good on tarmac. Besides the braking section, the car feels planted. It's a front-wheel drive rally car. Watch your understeer. Don't send it in too fast and power out when you can. And in sections like this, when we got to get the car slowed down, it's just nothing. Now, that was on me. I didn't even try to brake there because I felt that it was useless. But let's get ourselves into the service station, put the soft pads on, and give it the genuine attempt, yeah? All right, so jumping back on board where we crashed last time, 250 dips into 5 left, into 5 right, 60, 4 left, don't cut. Watch your entrance here, slowing the car down, and notice when we switched to brake pads, it actually worked. We can slow the car down. Who would have thunk? So back in this extremely tight low-speed section, this stage in particular, in my opinion, is already better than anything asphalt-wise in Dirt Rally 2. And you might see me struggling to drive this car right now and think, how have you possibly reached that conclusion? But it's the originality. Maybe it's just because I put so many hours into Dirt Rally and this is fresh. We'll see what happens. But here we've got 250 waves into caution, 1 left long. Now, I should have paid more attention to that 250 call, but I am going to go ahead and make a change right here. Now that we're getting used to the game and things are ramping up a little bit, we got to make sure that these calls come in earlier. So let's go ahead and slap that on real quick. Into the game options we go. Yes, calls, make them come just a little bit earlier. We're going a lot faster. So humping, wow. All right, this is the one. Start the car, new pads. We've experienced most of the stage. Are we going to get the gold medal first time? Probably not, but I know we're not trash, despite, how this video is going. I did say that this is more of a review and getting used to the game, but let's lock in here. Lights go down. I launched the car in second gear. Why? Couldn't tell you. Not really sure what my thought process was there, but I was mentally complaining about how short the gears are, so I might have just decided the first gear is completely irrelevant. On the opening stages here, really pushing the car hard. We're going to get to the top of 5th already. Now, this car wraps out around 150 kilometers per hour, and as someone who was raised on cheeseburgers per freedom units, I have no idea exactly what that is in miles per hour, but it's pretty quick for roads this tight. Into this super tight road section, using all of the front-wheel driveness to swing the front end of that car around. Didn't make contact with any of the bales there, believe it or not. Back into the high-speed sections. Locking in towards the left-hand side here. We've got a 5 right over crest. Now, the crest is very minimal, so it's a quick tap of the brakes, send it in, cut the corner. Didn't have a cut call there, but we took it amongst ourselves to just use all of the stage available to us, and we are wrapping this car. Now 175 kilometers an hour. I was most definitely lying to you, and can we get the car slowed down? We're going to break a couple corners in advance because these things, definitely not upper echelon WRC cars. You have to do some convincing to get these things slowed down. They don't have 4-wheel massive disc brakes like some of the more professional ones do. So getting this thing slowed down on the downhill in tarmac without locking up the wheels, it's a lot. You got to work for it. And then this thing just slowly get that thing turned around. Remember, we are in a front-wheel drive car, and if you're just skirting the wheels at a tarmac rally, you are shredding these things down. They're not going to last you very long at all. So now, as the calls come in correctly, I get that caution call. It tells me to slow down, get it turned in for the left. And I will say, the lack of motion blur does make it feel like you're going a little slow. Maybe I've just gotten used to how quick I am in Dirt Rally and I just send it through there. But again, not even going that fast. Grab some handbrake to get the rear end swung around, and we just keep sliding off the road into the ditch there. I'm gonna have to once again complain that I don't like that. The sliding in the low speed, it seems a bit much sometimes. So besides that, decent little section from us. We are still gonna continue to truck along. That is not a terminal accident, and we just want to finish the stage at this point. Is it gonna be a gold medal? I highly doubt it, but we've had decent pace for the beginning. Going on here, opens up again for us, 200 into 6 left, tightens 5, so you're just gonna watch your entrance here. we're ideally just going to keep it pinned the entire time, and yes, we do. 40 into 5 right opens, 44 left, tightens. Now watch your brakes here into the 4 left. Tightens, we ideally aim for a later apex, and we did not do that. We're just trying to finish right now. And getting to the end here, definitely quite a few notes to take, but for the first time, crossing the finish line here, I'm just going to go ahead and slow it down here, and that is enough for a silver medal. We will 100% take that now. Quite a few seconds off the gold, but not that bad considering we sent it off the stage. I think that's promising. Do we check the global leaderboards? Do we humble ourselves that bad? Yeah, we might as well. That was a pretty bad stage from us, and we are currently... Where are we at? Oh, 3,193. Yeah, I'm not going to keep that on screen for long. That's embarrassing, but it is a starting point. And now, let's talk. All right, so was this the best demonstration of skill in this game? No, I've got quite a bit to get used to, but I can give an honest assessment of how I feel about this game directly compared to Dirt Rally 2, which I have put a lot of hours in and become very good at it. This game, even in early access, is 100 times more exciting and enticing to me, despite the fact that it's a little more bare bones and not as, showy, I guess you could say. It's just all about rally, as we show some footage in the background so y'all know that I'm not completely trash. Now, what's on screen at this exact moment isn't the best display of that, but this isn't the Fiat 131 rear-wheel drive 5-speed car. A little bit more difficult to drive, but we managed to, in some offline grinding, get this thing a little bit better. So I'm going to show this in the background just to show y'all I'm not completely trash. But thoughts on the game? I think it's better. Already, even in early access, I think this game is better. I would love to see some sort of dedicated career mode. That way I don't only have to do, challenges or vehicle-specific rallies, but I think this game has potential to be the best rally game ever. And I know that's a crazy accusation to make even in early access, but let's look at it. In terms of realism, you get borderline Richard Burns rally levels of difficulty and realism, both graphics and physics-wise, and you don't have to install 30,000 mods just to get it to not look like it came out on the PlayStation 1, which is fantastic. And then as far as content-wise goes, it already has plenty of vehicles, only 2 locations at this exact moment, but even then the stages are long enough and fresh enough to be enticing, and I'm assuming they're only going to add more. So they've got that checked off. Graphics-wise, I've talked about it a million times, but not only does the game look fantastic, even on low settings, it's optimized well. And I know sim racing is, even though it's not as expensive as real racing, sim racing is still something that has a little bit of that price gap and lock. A lot of people get locked out of sim racing because it's expensive, and you shouldn't have to have a modern $2,500 PC just to run a new game, even at low settings. So the fact that I can run this game looking like this, no stutters, decent frames on a 2070 Super, this game was built well, which I love to see, and it's not even 70 ducks. COD. But speaking about games that are actually good, this one is there. Dirt Rally 2 has plenty of content. It's a lot of fun. I've had fun on it. But I think the only thing that this game has to fix right now is the sliding in the low speed situations. And if I could make a suggestion, a dedicated career mode would be absolutely awesome to see. And I'm 100% positive they're going to add more surface types. That's the only other thing I would have liked to see, is if they had snow, or maybe a less heavy gravel and more like just a super compact dirt kind of thing. That's what I would like to see. But other than that, genuine thoughts on the game as a rally enthusiast, Dirt Rally 2 veteran, this game is for you. I promise you. Whether you are just getting into rally and you want to learn the hard way and really improve your skill, or you're a rally veteran looking for the newest challenge, the newest thing to get into, I promise you, no matter what you've been playing, this game will take you a little bit to get used to. In order to get these things to the max, to really start feeling these cars. I know this run in the background has been far from perfect, but it was definitely a lot faster and more consistent than anything I got in the original footage for this video. And the joy that I got finishing this stage, even with the spin out, actually, you know what? I take that back. Not this particular run, but A run that I got a little bit after this and didn't record was already like top 200 global. And I know this is early access. I know not everyone's not here yet, but the sensation, the joy that this game is already giving me, it's unmatched. So that is going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end. I really appreciate all of you guys making it here. I am very excited for this game, and for veterans of the channel itself, I know we have 2 active career mode series going on Dirt Rally 2. Don't worry, we will be finishing those. However, I think that we are in unanimous agreement that as soon as we finish those, we are hopping right back onto Assetto Corsa Rally. And if this video does exceptionally well, or we get quite a few comments telling me that you want to see more of this game right now, we will make it happen. This channel is still relatively small. I see every single comment that comes through here, and if you really did make it to the end, I appreciate you because it really helps the channel, and I like that you guys watch what I put out. So if this video did well for you, if you're excited for AC Rally, or you like some of the things I touched on and highlighted for the game, feel free to hit that like and subscribe combo. There's plenty of content already on the channel to hold you over until more AC Rally, and we've got videos dropping twice a week. So once again, thank you to everyone who made it to the end of the video. If you have anything specific you want to see in the future or let me know about, like I said, feel free to comment. But I'm CD Racing. Thank you for watching. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.